Work's over. And now it's time to go off the clock. Your favorite destination for the hottest sports topics, fantasy insight, betting lines, and game predictions. Sit back, kick off your shoes. You can even crack a cold one. And enjoy the show. Now, here are your hosts, Tyler, Jake, and Rob.
Yo, what's up?
T Gray, what's going on, my
Newly engaged Jake, what's up, man? Good to have you back.
Yes, sir, man. That was last weekend to all of our viewers out there. It's been a crazy couple weeks. I feel like the whole gang hasn't really been together. Rob might be joining, but yeah, man, I flew out to Boston, surprised my girlfriend, proposed, flew her parents out there, flew my mom out there, her best friend.
You got the whole squad.
Damn, it was a good weekend, man. So. Yeah, man, I'm officially an engaged man, and it feels good. So
she surprised?
Oh man, she had no idea it was coming. I had her best friend go to the place, go to the park, and set up like a little setting for us, and then booked a photographer. And man, it was great. It was great, man.
Man, you did the whole deal.
Had to, man. Hopefully, this will be the only time I do it in my lifetime.
Yeah, very true, man. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck, and I know you guys got little Jake on the way too, so
yeah, man,
it's exciting, man.
Good things are happening for both of us.
It's crazy how life goes sometimes, man. But anyways, yeah, for all of our viewers, like Jake said, I think Rob will be joining and hopping here in probably about, I don't want to give a timetable, but I believe he'll be hopping in here at some time today. But we got to get this thing rolling. So what do you want to talk about first on this week's episode? I mean, we're halfway through the NFL season. So far, let's just not go from this past week, but so far, from what we knew before the first kickoff with, Bills, Rams, I guess, till now, what's been your biggest surprise of the whole season so far?
There's a lot of surprises, but I think one of the biggest ones I would probably say is the Las Vegas Raiders. I scratch my head when I look at that team. I really like. The defense isn't anything special. I look at the offense. They have the weapons. Obviously, Darren Waller's been banged up. I feel like they're the best number two would be Waller, behind obviously Tay, your boy. I don't know. I can't figure that team out, especially after last week. And you could easily say the Denver Broncos. You know what I mean? That's the easy one. Or maybe the Eagles undefeated. But maybe a wild card, I feel like would be the Raiders, just because I feel like they have the pieces, but just kind of really seem they can't figure it out. And it's kind of frustrating because you and I are both a big Davante Adams fan. And I think Josh Jacobs is a really good player as well. And obviously Waller in the gang. But I don't know, man.
Something's not right there in Vegas. That's for sure. Right. I think, college football, I guess just comparing the two, you know who the big dogs are probably going to be. There's always a few, upsets that knock teams out of that Final Four, and then their season's pretty much over. Kind of like my Aggies. But that's the crazy thing about the NFL, man. On a year-to-year basis, yeah, you might be able to, guess who's going to be a pretty good team, but you still really just don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like this year it's kind of really been like the top three and then just everyone else. You know what I mean? So I don't know. This year is weird. I feel like a lot of the scoring's been down. The disparity between good and great is crazy. I don't know. There's obviously some teams that we can talk about that are on the come up. But yeah, man. What about you? What about you, T? What do you think about one of your bigger takeaways?
I think
excluding the obvious, like the Broncos or something like that.
Yeah, I would say the two teams that met the Super Bowl last season. The Bengals did get hot there for a minute, but they didn't look like a good team. What was it last night? Now I know they're missing Jamar Chase. One of their top corners, Awuzie, went out, and I think he tore his ACL, which is a big blow for them. But they did all that stuff in free agency to fix the offensive line. It obviously didn't help any bit. Um, Hell, it might have even set them back because they're not running the ball even still.
Yeah.
Um, I think the Rams too. On the flip side of things, they're a team that you lose Odell Beckham, you lose Von Miller, but then you bring in a guy like Allen Robinson. You get your two, at least what we thought at the time, running backs healthy and ready to go at the start of the season. And they've just been a big time flop, especially with Sean McVay, the offensive guru. Um, but both sides of the ball is a mess over there, I think. They're, very top heavy with their roster. They got, three bona fide top players at the position in Cup, Ramsey, and Donald, and the supporting cast. I mean, hell, I even forgot to mention Bobby Wagner being an addition.
You forget about it, man, because they're just not doing anything, you know?
So, I mean, I think that Super Bowl hangover is real. I will say this, though. Both those teams, their divisions aren't super strong right now.
Yeah. No,
And
I do think the Niners are on the big major time come up, especially after last weekend.
you know, they played great. I mean, they obviously beat the Rams this past week, but the week before they got blown out by the Chiefs at home.
They did. Yeah,
And
that
if
was
you're,
embarrassing.
I think if you're a top team like that, if the Chiefs would have won, all right, but they got blown out, like big time blown
Yeah.
out, and they've honestly, minus Jeff or Mitchell or whatever, they've been pretty healthy all year round. And I
Yeah.
guess they did lose Lance, but you're bringing back or putting in the guy that went to the conference championship game. But anyways, looks like we got our boy in here, Mr. Robbie.
There
Robbie
she
Rob,
is.
what's up, big boy? How you
Where
doing?
you at now, Rob? You're on Central Time. Where you at?
I'm in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
Chi-town.
I'm in
You know who else is in Chicago? Chase
Ooh,
Claypool.
Chase Claypool. I tried to get him from you.
It's just stupid. Like that right there is like, wow, overpaying for somebody that much is like ridiculous. Amari Cooper only got like what, a 5 and a 6.
Can you
And
justify
Yeah,
why your
but
Packers
also
just
there's a $20
won't
million
make a move?
contract there.
it's not. I mean, the only move to make was the Claypool move, and that was it.
But
Like
Brandon
you look
Cooks,
at
no? Too much money?
18 million. You don't have 18 million, so you have the Texans would need to eat that cap, and the Texans are going to eat it for a guy that has at least 2 more years left. They weren't going to do that.
He just resigned. He just signed that extension in April too.
Exactly. So why the Texans will eat $18 million? I think
Who
what
else there was out there? Kadarius
you
Toney before he went to the Chiefs would have been cool, but
yeah, but I mean, I think what happened was they really wanted Claypool.
You really think they wanted Claypool?
I think it made the most obvious sense, but they weren't going to pay a fucking second round pick for Claypool. Like they were not doing that.
Here's my take from all this. I mean, and we are just now getting into the thick of this trade talk, Rob. Just to let you know, we kind of talked about like a midway point, type of surprise. But I think Claypool going for a 2. I wouldn't have paid a 2. I don't think either of y'all would have paid a 2 if you're a GM. But I think that's more telling of how that wide receiver market is or was during this deadline. Because teams like the Packers, you can throw the Cowboys in the mix, you can throw the Giants in the mix. These teams that are trying to be contenders who could use wide receiver help, nobody went out and got one. Besides the Bears,
But the Bears, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the Bears are doing. Like, you trade Roquan Smith for pretty much nothing. Like, you didn't really get what you could back for Roquan.
2 and a 5.
Like, you got 2 and a 5. But I'm comparing to Roquan to Bradley Chubb. I think Roquan is actually better than Bradley Chubb, and he's younger too. So Bradley Chubb, I mean, the freaking Denver Broncos got their first round pick to get a Seattle back. They got a relatively good back when they needed a back in Chase Edmonds, and I think they got a 3, right?
Who got a 3?
No, they got a. Sorry, I'm just reading like the stuff.
They got a 1 and a 4, I think, for 1, 4 and Edmonds for Chubb and a 5, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So like it just you trade away Roquan Smith, you trade away Robert Quinn away. So and you still have a top like 5 defense. I think that's what the rank was, 4 or 5 relatively.
That
And then
changed
so
after this
everyone
past week.
everyone is like thinking, okay, it's rebuild mode. You're gonna try to get draft picks to rebuild around, your quarterback, all these things. And then you go out and spend a high 2, not the Ravens 2, the high 2, their second round pick, not the Ravens one, to go get Chase Claypool, who, in my opinion, Daniel Mooney is still better than Chase Claypool.
Ooh, that's
So
debatable. That's debatable.
I
That's
think
not
I agree with
debatable.
Rob on that.
Daniel Mooney is way better than Chase Claypool, and Chase Claypool's hurt a lot.
I guess
Mooney's
I
always
respect those big physical guys.
I don't know if he's way better. I think Mooney is definitely like a pure receiver, and Claypool is a weapon, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's how I'd view
like
those two players.
Claypool went from being a 2 to being still a 2.
You can hand the
Like,
ball off to Claypool. He's kind of built a little bit like Debo, a little thicker. He's not a crisp route runner, but if you get him in space with the ball, he's
He
hard
drops
to
the
bring
ball
down.
a lot, though, but he also drops the ball a lot.
Well, what was y'all's? I mean, obviously we're talking about this, so that might be it. That kind of leads us into our next segment. What do y'all think y'all's favorite trade of the trade deadline was? Did y'all have a favorite?
I mean, there's so many.
Maybe we can't
So
forget about
many.
your Cowboys getting some defensive line help.
I mean, yeah, Hankins, he played pretty well in his debut, but that's not something that's going to be like a.
Are we talking just like overall, or are we talking just by today?
Just any trade.
Any trade.
Let me say this first, fellas. I think, and Rob, you said, I think Roquan Smith's better than Bradley Chubb. Yeah, I could make a good argument either way, but the thing I'll say is Roquan Smith plays middle linebacker and Bradley Chubb plays the edge. And edge rushers are probably the third, if not second most valuable position in the league behind quarterback, and I'd say left tackle is in the discussion with them, and then wide receiver right past that. In terms of if you look at the big money, who's making the money at what position, those are the positions that make the money. Middle linebackers don't make good money in the NFL nowadays. And that's the whole reasoning behind that,
I just feel like with Roquan, sorry, I think Roquan. I don't know why I said that. His presence is more defined than Bradley. And I would think, again, coming out of like a GM perspective, playing middle linebacker, being such a staple point of that defense, why do you trade a guy that's going to a contract year, still young? He wanted to stay with Chicago. It's not like he was requesting to trade. He just wanted a contract. Give him the contract, have that defense be set, ready to go, so you can just focus on surely the offense. And now, when you're going into this draft and rebuild mode, now you have to find pieces for the offensive line. Now you have to find pieces in the defense. Now you have to find pieces for the defensive line as well. And then all these other pieces where you could have kept guys and just be like, you know what, let me just focus on building the offense and let the defense ride, because the defense is still playing great.
I mean, let me say this too. I don't know if you guys saw this, but apparently this morning the Rams offered the Panthers 2-1s for Brian Burns, and they declined it. I guess that's just kind of
2 ones to give. They had 2 ones to give.
They got to be way in the future, I think. But
That's what I was thinking. It's
I don't know what they have for draft picks to give. Like, they're pretty much sold.
This is according to Twitter, not a verified source, but one that has been pretty accurate over the years. Apparently, your Packers did offer the Steelers a second-round pick for Claypool, but they went with the Bears.
But it would have went. You look at the Packers record, you look at the Bears record. Bears second-round pick is going to be a lot higher than that. And then there's another report that the Packers were just upping the price, knowing the Bears were involved, so the Bears could spend higher. Which that would be some dirty, dirty dog shit if that happened. But
it's hard to know. I wish I did, man. I wish I had a little bug planted in each GM's office.
I did too. Sweet. I would just wish.
But back to your question, Jake. My favorite trade, I think the McCaffrey trade obviously is going to help San Fran, but I think they gave up a huge haul for him. And they're kind of all in right now. That's a big all in trade, which rightfully so. They traded those picks for Lance. Maybe he'll come back and be something. But the one trade that I look at that I think, it's kind of going under the radar, I think, because of some other big names. But the Minnesota Vikings getting TJ Hawkinson.
The TJ Hawkinson, that was mine. That was like, what?
I think given Kirk Cousins and the Vikings a bona fide big red zone threat, um, and I mean I think Hawkinson's a better football player than Irv Smith.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
Oh, but Irv Smith's out for now. He's on
yeah,
IR for
Dude
10
can't
weeks.
stay healthy
hmm
though.
Yeah, he's
So
out.
I think adding Hawkinson, who's also a good blocker too, as a tight end, I think that's just another under the radar weapon that they added. And what's the Vikings record? Are they 6-1 now?
Yeah.
6-1.
And Thielen's
Um,
kind of banged up too. So if he were to miss time, Hawkinson could easily behind. I mean, KJ Osborne's one of those guys that always sneaks in when people miss time and does well, but he could definitely become the number 2 target if you want to, unless you want to say 3 behind Dalvin. But
And I think Hawkinson was a good move. They did give up a second round pick, I believe, for him, which
he's still young though. He's only been in the league with his like 4th year or something.
Yeah, he's still on his contract
He's a
deal. I mean, his
dog.
rookie
They
deal.
could definitely obviously use him as like a building piece for the future. But I think their time's kind of now too. Like how much longer are you going to give Captain Kirk the reins?
Well,
so,
Captain Kurt's on his contract year. So
That's
I,
what I'm saying. So
I want to talk about a team who made a couple moves. We've already kind of mentioned one of them, but I want to hear what y'all's favorite trade was. I know you said, Rob, you like the Hawkinson one. You got another one though?
I did, but I do have another one because you took my Hawkinson one. I'm like going through all the trades right now, and obviously, like you said, McCaffrey makes sense, but I'm gonna go with what a trade that happened a few days ago, and I just got done talking about him. Robert Quinn to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 4th round pick. You know how huge that is for an offensive line. That means you have a top, I would say, was that Robert Quinn? I would say top 10 defensive end joining a pretty much a top 5 defense already. So it just boldifies that defense interior. Um, Robert Quinn obviously plays Bears, and I'm a Packers fan. I've dealt with him twice a year, every single year, watched him being pain in my ass, and he knows how to rush the passer, but he also knows how to jump and tip the ball. And that's the one thing that's what happened on Sunday Night Football was that pick Aaron Rodgers had was just he didn't have pressure. The guy just jumped and tipped the ball, and that was it. And that goes such a long way for a defensive line just to understand. Sometimes I can't get in all the way, but if I could just simply put my hands up to tip the ball to get a pick, do it.
I mean,
So
the one thing
that's
I'll say is Robert Quinn's only gotten one sack all season. But I do think that's going to add good pass rush depth for the Eagles for a 4th round pick. That's probably one of the most
that's like that.
fair
That was
on
like
both
nothing
sides.
for them. Yeah, that was like nothing for them. Of course, I would spend a 4th round pick on Robert Quinn.
how do y'all think, kind of transition from them, how do y'all feel about Cam Akers? So obviously he came out and said that playing for the Rams this season wouldn't be his best interest. Do they sit him for the rest of the year and kind of give him the Deshaun Watson treatment of where like, you know what I mean?
I
Kind of
don't think
not really
he's
Deshaun
a.
Watson treatment, but like kind of like, look, we're gonna do with you what we want.
I just don't think he's a running back, and I
Do
would
you
just.
think he plays another snap for the Rams this year?
I don't.
You think
I
they're
don't
gonna
think
sit him
I think he'll cut him.
and let him sign somewhere else?
That's the right thing to do. If you couldn't find a trade person like a partner, then the right thing to do is to cut him and let him find his own place.
I think back to our very first episode on this podcast, and I think somebody asked me like, "What was my biggest takeaway?" And it's just funny how it's coming flourish. And I made a big segment on Cam Akers, and I think it's funny, man. I feel for that guy though. Obviously
I mean,
coming off a bad injury, and he kind of just got the reins all of a sudden, and then kind of I don't even know lost them all of a sudden. It was weird.
Well,
I
I mean,
mean that whole offense is like very weird. So it's not Cam Akers' fault. It's just Daryl Henderson was such a staple point of the offense last year. That's the reason why they won the Super Bowl.
And
And
he's
like
not even involved. It's crazy. I feel like
it just that's what I'm saying. Like even the guy that was such a big opponent of their offense last year and in the running game is non-existent, and so that just shows like how far that team has come. Yeah.
I'm looking at some stuff real quick, fellas. This is from probably my number one source of Cowboys news, Mike Fisher of SI.com. He's been in that building since the 90s. He has a great relationship with that whole front office. His go-to saying on his YouTube channel is straight dope, no bullsh. But apparently the Cowboys and Texans were extremely, extremely close on a Brandon Cooks trade, and the Cowboys were about to give in to the second round pick plus request that the Texans had for him, but it just didn't happen. And apparently, Brandon Cooks also tweeted, let me read this for you. Don't take a man's kindness for granted. Covered for the lies for too long. These days are done. Crossed the line with playing with my career. And he gave his little bow and arrow emoji. So it looks like they told him that they're going to deal him out somewhere to go
They were going
contend,
to trade him
and
to a contender, and that didn't happen.
they held put. Now
We weren't gonna give him up for scraps though. I don't really see the flip side of it. What the benefit of holding on to him is, unless you're just not going to get the certain picks. But
Yeah, but now the downside of his now is that what could happen is he could do the Calvin Ridley thing and just like sit and
say he's
not
hurt. He just say
say he's hurt, and then in the offseason the Texans will end up dealing him, but it might be a lot less than what you could have got him this deadline.
Yeah.
I mean, I think situations like that, and for one, I'll go on the record. I'm glad that the Cowboys didn't give up 2+ for Brandon Cooks. I like Brandon Cooks. He's getting older now. He's had some injury history, especially with concussions and stuff like
He's
that.
a dog though, Tigre.
I mean, look at his stat lines this year. Now, granted, he's got Davis Mills throwing the ball, but
come on, T.
You
Don't
can't,
do that,
yeah,
bro.
you can't.
but
you can't look at Davis Mills.
Me, I mean, I'm not going to say this about any team but the Cowboys, but my knowledge on the Cowboys and knowing what they've done in years past, they are a really good drafting team. I think they have the highest number of homegrown players and starters in the league on their squad.
Yeah,
And a second round pick, it's not a first, obviously, but a second round pick's still a fucking huge pick to hit on. I mean, look
Yeah.
at some of the great players in the league that were taken in the second round.
But what do you think the Cowboys' win window is? Like the window on Dak has to be closing. The window on Zeke has to be closing. Like I think you feel like
Why is it closing on Dak?
I would
what-
say Zeke, yes, because me and
Dak's
Tyler had a
what,
conversation
28?
last week.
I guess it's just like how much
29?
longer do you give him. Like I feel like if you play for the Dallas Cowboys, it's Super Bowl or bust every single year. Like you play for
course.
America's team. I just feel like what's he been in the league? 8 years? Did he and Zeke come in both in 15?
16.
16? So what he's been in the league 6 years?
He's 20. They're 27 each. I had a question, and I'll probably ask you this, Jake. Based on the success of Tony Pollard on Sunday, at the end of the season, and you had a choice because this is Pollard's contract year,
year.
right, Tyler? Yeah. Would you re-sign Pollard to an extension, trade Zeke, or do you keep Zeke and let Pollard walk?
Well, here's the thing: you're not going to
obvious.
be able to trade Zeke.
Oh, I mean, you're going to eat some of his contract or take less. I mean, if
But-
Amari Cooper got traded for a 5 and 6, you could trade Zeke. And Amari Cooper had a bigger contract.
I mean,
What would Zeke be worth?
with his contract, his trade value is not worth it. Now, I mean, I still think
Contract.
Zeke he's a top 20 running back in the league.
Yeah, but is he
Look
worth?
around.
Is he worth
Now, what-
for the next 4 years? Is he worth?
I think
I
I
would
said
say
this the other day. You got to restructure.
41 million.
Here's what you do with Zeke. You ask him to restructure because he's not going to be able to go get the money that he's getting now. And he can, obviously tell you no, and then you're, stuck in a situation where you can either cut him and eat some dead money, but get out of that contract earlier, and then try to re-sign Pollard. But the thing that the Cowboys aren't going to do is they're not going to overpay for another running back. I think, the way things happened with Zeke, I mean, he was, the hottest running back on the block when they did re-sign him, and everybody did still even say like, oh man, you're going to pay a running back that high, it might come around and bite you in the ass. Well, it did. But if you didn't have Tony Pollard behind him, then this wouldn't be a debate.
I guess I'm just confused on why Jerry Jones is being so fucking stubborn on this. We go as Zeke goes. He's our number one guy. I just feel like, let Pollard get first team reps. I just don't see why not. He's the hot hand. You ride him. Like, why are you being so facetious and so?
Because Zeke's his guy. That's why.
But that's
Zeke's
the
his guy.
problem. It's not. I feel like that's not in the best interest of the Cowboys. Tyler, you know him better than anybody. You're a diehard fan. You don't agree that Pollard should get first team reps like moving forward?
Well, the thing is, they almost split carries. They pretty
Yeah,
much
they're
split
pretty
touches.
I
It's
much.
feel
like
like
55-45. And in today's NFL, I'm cool with that. What I would probably do though is I'd go with the hot hand approach on a game to game basis. And you saw it the game before this past one when Zeke was playing. I think it was the most even touch share that they've had all season. Zeke's been around about 60-40. I think that game was like 52-48 or something. And I mean, there's no way that they're stupid enough to not give Pollard the ball. And we've seen an increase in touches since last season, but you don't just sit Zeke on the bench and ride only with Pollard. You got to use them both. You got to use them both effectively, and you keep them both fresh. And whoever's running the ball the best on that day, which it normally looks like Pollard, at least when you're watching the game, but there's so much more that goes into it, like pass protection, things like that, that Zeke is better than Pollard at. But that's how you approach it. And just
Mhm.
that's my opinion. Um, would I rather have the ball in Tony Pollard's hand or Zeke Elliott's hand in first and 10? I'd rather have it in Pollard's hand. Would I rather have it in Zeke's hand on 3rd and 1? Yes. Like there's situational football that needs to be played moving forward and an equal share.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, it's been a few weeks, boys, since I mean, we don't have to spend too much time on it. Obviously, we got the World Series game tonight, Tyler. I know you're going out to eat with your family and your girls. So I just got maybe one or two more segments I wanted to touch on, but I am curious on, I think we probably all, or actually, no, we're not all consensus on the top 3 teams in the NFL. Y'all motherfuckers love to chop down my Eagles, clip their wings. I'm sure y'all still don't have them at number 1, even at 7-0. Still, I'm sure y'all are still riding the good old Bills out of Buffalo, New York, huh? Right? Am I right?
I
Yeah,
mean,
you're right. Right for me.
yep, yep. I
I
mean,
figured. I
I can
figured.
run because we haven't done yours in a while. I pretty much can run through mine pretty easily.
We're probably still going to say the same thing because the Eagles get my dog shit Texans this week. We know they'll be 8-0. So,
Well, we were all here last week for our weekly show. Let's remind our viewers our top 5. Jake's, I know
So
yours was what? Eagles, Bills, Chiefs. Then you had the Bengals, I believe.
Vikings and Bengals.
I had the Bills, Eagles, Chiefs. I think I had Vikings and Giants at 5,
For all
and
of our
then
viewers out there, my updated 5 going into week 8, all I'm doing is switching the number 5 team. I'm still flying with the Eagles at 1, Bills at 2, Chiefs at 3. I'm going with the Vikings at 4, especially after today. And then at 5, I'm going to throw it. I'm going to do it for you, Tyler. I got the Cowboys. I'll give them the respect. It was the Bears, but they put an ass whooping on them. They did give up almost 30. There was it 29 or 28? What was it?
yeah,
29.
that's 29, but that was like garbage time at that point.
It was garbage time. Yeah,
It was garbage time.
they were getting. I feel like the Bears were really running the ball really well, but I mean, if you have an offense that can put up 49, I feel like the defense can give up a couple scores. So,
Yeah,
I wish I would have went and gotten a receiver today. I just feel like that's the missing piece. The defense is amazing. The running backs are solid. Dak's going to do his thing. But yeah, I got to give y'all respect. I think y'all crack the top. I think if y'all played the Giants tomorrow, y'all would fuck them. So the Giants would be up there. The Bengals are atrocious. I feel embarrassed saying that. And the Ravens are. The Ravens are good.
it wasn't that they're atrocious. It's just that Joe Burrow. You obviously saw Jamar Chase is missing.
Yeah, but
there.
I mean,
Like
Mixon's not even getting the ball. Like, I don't know, their offensive play calling. I'm not good at like offensive coordinator stuff and play calling and stuff like that, but it just looks terrible, man. Like
yeah,
T. Higgins had like 2 catches for like 3 yards or something until that bomb at the end. It's like, bro.
it's the exact same issue with them every single time. It's the offensive line. Like the
Yeah.
offensive line is just dog shit, and they spend all that money for no reason. So,
So Rob, you got
um,
Bills, Eagles, Chiefs.
Bill, Eagles, Chiefs. I got the Vikings at 4, especially after today. I think T.J. Hawkinson, obviously, we all agree, is way better than Irv Smith Jr. And if Adam Thielen's going to be down for just a little bit, yeah, Osborne's there, but I still think he would be the 2, probably the number 2 target person on that offense compared to obviously Justin Jefferson. And 5, I got the Niners. There was the Niners just put an absolute whooping on the fucking the Rams. I remember I turned on the game thinking it was going to be a great game, and it just was not a great game. It was just like, okay, like there's an obvious difference between both teams and how they're being managed and played, and right now the Niners look 5 times more than what the Rams should be.
Yeah, I mean the Rams. I feel like before you get into it, Tigger, I feel like I agree with you, Rob. I just feel like it's kind of hard to like I feel like they
It's
should.
like you don't
I
want
just think
to.
they should fuck the Rams. The Rams are terrible this year. So I wish it would. I wish that would have been against like the Chiefs or somebody. But
Yeah.
I'm with you. I definitely got Niners in probably my top 8. But
I just think the addition to Christian McCaffrey, they got rid of Jeff Wilson to
Debo needs to get healthy, or isn't he coming back? I think he might.
he'll be back.
Yeah,
He'll be
I
back
think he's
after the bye.
questionable.
After the bye, yeah.
Yeah, they have a bye this week, so they'll be back after the bye. Then once that happens, it's like you have Debo, Christian, Ayuk, Kittle, and then
The
CMC.
defense is
Like
solid.
it's
The
like
defense
holy
is
shit. Yeah, like you don't know where you're gonna end up going with that ball anymore. So
Tyler, I feel like our top 5 is gonna be pretty similar, but I feel like you're just gonna switch 1 and 2. You got Cowboys at 5.
Here's my 5. All right, I got Bills 1 still. I think that they're still just the best all-around team. I got the Eagles right behind them at 2. If the Eagles and Chiefs played today and the Chiefs won by 14 points, I wouldn't be surprised though. But I got the Chiefs at 3. My number 4 team this week, I'm putting my Cowboys at 4. Putting them at 4. I think I've seen enough from them. Dak came back. He had, a Dak style type of game. They're running the ball on a, pretty solid Chicago defense. They still had Roquan Smith in that game.
yeah,
They put up 49 points. They scored, touchdown on their first 4 possessions. Their special teams has been really, really solid all year. Their defense did give up, like you mentioned, a lot of rushing yards, but I mean, when you're up by that many points and the other team wants to continue to run the ball in the fourth quarter, you just let them. I mean, it's just burning
yeah.
the clock.
I mean, you're pretty much playing
The Bears knew if they were passing the ball every down, then the Cowboys pass rush would just eat fields alive.
dominate. Yeah, so it just made sense at that point.
No, number 5 for me is where I think it's tough because I do like the Niners. I think what I saw 2 weeks ago against the Chiefs, though, I did not like. But I think that they're at the end of the season they're going to be right up there because I think they have a awesome all around roster, really good offensive line. But number 5, I'm torn between 2 teams, and I've had one of them. I believe I had Minnesota at 4, and didn't I have Tennessee at 5 last week? Is that what I did?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you put Tennessee there, but
Yeah.
And
I don't know why.
well, the reason why is because they start off 0-2, but all they've done is just pound people. And when you're playing Tennessee, you know what's coming. They played the Texans, and the Texans obviously aren't the greatest team, but their defense, I think, up until this week, hadn't allowed a single touchdown. Their defense, I think, it was all like special teams and stuff.
But being a top 5 team in a power ranking, don't you think you need to what on their record, on their 5-2 record, what team stands out and be like, oh, okay, this is why they're a top 5 team?
Well, here's
they lost against the Giants, they got their ass whooped by the Bills, and then they beat the dog shit Raiders, the dog shit Colts twice, the Commanders with whoever the hell the quarterback is barely, and then the Texans with Davis Mills.
Okay,
So,
well, let's look at the Eagles and let's talk about that. I mean, the Eagles' best win all season has been against the Cowboys, right?
What's the Jake argument?
they beat the Cardinals, and they beat the Vikings.
I mean, I think the Cardinals they're not a good football
So
team.
let's use the Eagles. So
and it was Kirk Cousins on Monday night, so that's like
they blew up the Vikings on Monday night. They beat the Cardinals by 3. They beat the Cowboys. So that's 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it to you. The resume is not. But it's. I feel like those arguments are so hard because it's like they can only play who's in front of them.
Well, you're right, Jake, and they're still my number 2 team, and I'm just saying that because of Rob's argument for the Titans.
Well, I'm just saying, like I would have, just for me personally, and I'll shut up after this. I would have Seattle over the Titans.
But the good thing about this show is it's all of our opinions, and we're all entitled to our own opinions.
No, my opinion is right all the time. Damn it.
No, god damn it, no, it's not.
Here's let me finish off with my number 5. I think at full strength, if I saw more 2 weeks ago, the 49ers would be there. But I'm going to base it off of what I'm seeing this week or up to this point. And I'm going to put the Vikings right ahead of the Titans, but they're neck and neck. But I think those two teams would get beat by the Cowboys, who's at my number 4 spot right now. And I think it wouldn't be super, super close either.
Do you think if the Eagles play the Cowboys tomorrow on Thursday for Thursday Night Football, Eagles Cowboys rematch in Dallas, do you truly in your heart believe Dallas would win?
I think they had, just as good of a shot as the Eagles to win.
I'm asking you if the Eagles played the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football in 2 days in Dallas, do you believe
I don't think that the Cowboys would be favored, but I think it'd be like a coin flip. I don't think the Eagles are
so the next time the Eagles
are as dominant as a team of what they've portrayed is, I guess, what I'm saying.
Christmas Eve.
Yep, Christmas Eve.
December 24th.
Are you going, T-Grade?
And Dallas.
Probably not. But
on Fox.
That'd be a sick
Eagles, Dallas. And that's going to be probably for the division.
Oh, that'd be sick to go to.
Well, I mean, if the Eagles keep winning, I mean, they have one of the easiest schedules left, in my opinion. I could very well see them, if you told me they're not going to lose a single game the rest of the season, I'd be a little surprised, but I wouldn't be super shocked just looking at their schedule. If they keep playing the way that they're doing.
I think their next 3 are locks. Texans, Commanders, Colts. The Packers, I see them beating the Packers, but, I mean, it's still Aaron
That'll be a
Rodgers.
good test for them.
That will be a good – is that in Lambeau? Do we know?
No, that's in Philly.
That's in Philly? Okay.
That's in Philly. No.
Yeah. Well, guys, let's keep this rolling because I want to ask y'all. I know T-Grade, our time's ticking. I know you're hungry and want some Miller Lights.
Well, after this past weekend, I may just have a reader or two and call it.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Same here. I drank way too many Vodka Rebels and Michelob Ultras in Boston. Thursday Night Football, is it even a segment for our viewers? I mean, are they just gonna laugh at us and say y'all are a bunch of clowns?
Well, we still got to pick the game.
Are you? Come on! Are you not going to say?
Let's
ride
do
or die?
spread. Hey, let's not pick money line. Let's pick spread because it's a big spread.
So you're trying to say you're not riding dying with your Texans? I ride and die with my Packers against the Bills.
Tyler, Philly minus 14.
He's not even responding.
14 points is a fuck ton of points in the NFL, but I mean.
I mean, the Bills were minus 10.5, and I mean, obviously they won by 10, but still 10 and that was a lot.
If I was a betting man on this game, I probably wouldn't touch it. But if I had to, I'd take the Eagles.
What about you, Rob? And I didn't catch what you said, Rob. Say it again. I'm sorry, bro.
I said that you're not riding and dying with your Texans. I ride and die with my Packers last week.
Well, that's easier. Y'all actually have a chance. Y'all have Aaron Jones. Y'all have Alan Lazard. Y'all have.
We didn't have Lazard.
I'm just saying on a general basis.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
We have Davis Mills.
This is my little side prediction. If the Texans with Lovie Smith, they're so conservative. They know what they have in their team. They're not going to come out and air it out. They're going to try to slow the game down and everything. If this game is close going into the third quarter, watch for the Texans to pull out a couple trick plays. They have nothing to fucking lose. They're on primetime for the first. Is it maybe their only primetime game all season?
I think it's their only primetime game.
Amazon Prime getting another bad team on the list, but watch out for them pulling
this year, man.
Watch out for them pulling out a couple nasty little trick plays. Brandon Cooks can throw the ball a little bit. We'll see what happens.
Do you think Brandon Cooks plays Thursday, or does he pull some?
I think he pulls some bullshit, but that's just me.
I think he plays.
I'm looking at the schedule. Sorry for Thursday Night Football. By the way, I'll pick the Eagles.
Obviously. You would lay 14 points.
I would do the 14 points. I mean, yeah. I'm looking at the Thursday Night Football schedule. The next real game that we'll be all interested in. I mean, next week is probably pretty interesting too. Falcons, Panthers, but after that we have the Titans, Packers, Bills, Patriots, Raiders, Rams, Niners, Seahawks, and then Jags, Jets. So we're getting to some good games, hopefully, coming down the road.
I didn't hear too many good ones.
Wow. I said hopefully.
He said Falcons, Panthers.
Hey, you telling me that game on Sunday wasn't fucking legit to watch? That shit was fucking crazy.
It was better
Yeah.
than expected.
It was
Yeah,
like
I mean,
had all the drama, had a freaking Hail Mary down the field to win the game with a freaking unsportsmanlike conduct from DJ Moore because he took his fucking helmet off.
I saw that
this
it shouldn't have been called
Yeah.
according to the rules.
And then
He was off the field.
Yeah.
missed field goal kick. Then I missed another field
I mean,
goal
talk
kick.
about it's exciting, but I mean that's just bad football, you know.
Yeah, but I mean that's still pretty fucking good.
But
Fellas,
I mean,
we're all riding the Stros tonight.
No, I still got Philly.
Sheesh.
like I'm not changing my Stros in 6 pick.
I'm not
I don't
changing
wanna
mine,
predict-
Philly in 7.
I
I
don't
think I
want to
said
predict
Stros at
tonight, but
5, I think.
yeah, you did. So,
I ain't got no
you
more
got
losses.
McCullers and Syndergaard going.
Is it Syndergaard still going tonight?
They
Or
said
did they switch it?
No, they switched.
Oh,
it.
Rogers. Oh, actually, Ranger. Sorry, Ranger Suarez. Ah, man, that's the one dude I think you might win against.
It's only Ash is only minus 125, so the money line is not juicy at all. It seems
Wow,
pretty even.
they really scrapped Noah Syndergaard playing the next 2 games. That's fucking ridiculous. I would still have him going tonight. I don't know. I'll still ride and die with the game 3 Philly. I just think that all the stuff will be there. You know, Philly fans are ridiculous. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it'll
shows
be
2
exciting.
Bulldogs in there. I feel like they're gonna be riding high.
yeah.
But all right, fellas, I think that's it, huh?
Yeah, I don't think I have
Good with
anything
that.
else.
That's
Well,
it for me. I'm
cool,
looking forward to the Sunday show. Missed last weekend because I was out of town, but I'm ready to get back at it.
Yeah, we'll see you guys on Sunday. Y'all enjoy this next couple days of baseball, and you got the Texans on Thursday, so we got some
Woo!
good sports coming. I think there's football for another like 20 days in a row or something. College and
I think
Yeah,
we still want to do
college
a
and football.
giveaway, right, T. Gray? Soon.
sorry, what'd you say?
I think we still want to do some type of giveaway to our viewers that tap in, don't we? Sometime soon.
Yeah, I know we were talking about it. We need them to start tapping in.
We still haven't gotten a special guest. Maybe that's why. Maybe this Sunday, if we want to do that, for anyone that's watching the show, if you're buddies with any of us, just holler at us. We'd love to have a 4th guy on for a little guest appearance.
Hey, and I'm gonna say this too: to enter in this giveaway, you got to go join the Discord. That's gonna be
Yeah,
priority number
That's the only
one.
way. And be
But,
active in the Discord. We're not gonna do a giveaway to a guy just pressing a button and just sitting there.
But,
Yeah.
Gotta be active.
But anyways, fellas, yeah, y'all take care. If you guys, are watching this and like the content, hit that like and subscribe button as always. But till next time,
Yep.
huh?
See you boys
See
on
ya.
Sunday. Go
Yeah.
Stros.
Later.
Thanks for tuning in to the Off the Clock Show. If you enjoyed what you heard, go ahead and hit that like button. If you really want to show your support, please consider subscribing. You can also follow us at our social media sites listed in the description. We will talk to you next time. Off the Clock.